Whether you are giving breast milk or formula milk, how the milk is given by bottle is really important. Regardless of what the feed is made of, we need to be responsive to the baby's feeding cues, rather than feeding on a schedule. Lots of parents believe that babies should be fed every 3 to 4 hours, but we know this is not true to the baby's physiology, particularly in the early weeks. Just like adults, babies eat at different intervals throughout the day, and obviously they eat through the night as well. It's quite common for babies to feed anything from 8, 10 or even 12 times in 24 hours, and sometimes even more. If a baby is being formula fed, then it's important to understand that although it says on the formula tin that feeds are divided down to 6 or even 5 feeds in 24 hours, that this is not ideal for the baby's digestion, comfort or optimum development and growth. It's really important to divide the amount of milk the baby needs in 24 hours into a minimum of 8 feeds, particularly if you're dealing with symptoms of colic or reflux. Having great big feeds infrequently is not good for the baby's tummy. So divide any formula feeds into a minimum of 8 in 24 hours. This doesn't mean that feeds will be 3 hourly either. It may well mean that sometimes a baby feeds 1 or 2 or 3 hours after the previous feed, and this is perfectly normal. If the baby shows signs of hunger, then they're ready to feed. It's better that they have frequent small amounts of milk to help the digestion and to make them more comfortable. So how do we responsibly bottle feed? Whether a baby is breastfed or bottle fed, the flow rate is key to comfortable feeding. If the flow rate is too fast, you may notice the baby coughing or gulping as they become overwhelmed with too much milk. On the flip side, too slow a flow rate may make the baby increasingly more frustrated as they struggle to get the milk that they want. It's common to think that the traditional way of cradling a baby in the arms with the bottle upright is the way to feed a baby by bottle. But let's look at what happens when we simply tip the bottle upside down. The bottle will drip when held this way, even the ones that are marked as non-drip. And once you've got the suction involved as well, the baby's going to be getting big gulps of milk. So what can we do to slow this down? We can start by making sure that the bottle is horizontal, with just enough milk in the teat to cover the air hole. This stops the passive flow and will involve the baby taking the bottle into their mouth and providing some suction, which means it's easier for the baby to control the flow. Many babies will need a slow flow teat throughout their bottle feeding journey, not just when they're newborn. To bottle feed well, the baby should be held upright, the baby turned in towards the caregiver giving the bottle, so that they are able to give a nice sight line and they can look into each other's eyes while the baby is feeding. This is a really important time for the communication for the baby. Hold the bottle horizontal with just enough milk to cover the air hole in the teat, tickling the baby's top lip with the teat and allowing them to open wide. If you find that the baby starts gulping and sucking too quickly, then they'll need to take several breaths to recover. Signs that the milk is coming too fast are stiffening and arching their back, trying to turn their head, coughing, excessive swallowing without breaks for breathing, drooling saliva, milk dripping from the side of the mouth, and refusing the bottle or the breast. Let the baby take 4 or 5 sucks and swallows. Then drop the bottle down. You can either take it out of the mouth completely or just drop it down so that they can recover. It's a good idea to offer the baby an opportunity to burp every half an ounce or so. This will make a big difference to whether or not the baby is sick or has symptoms of colic or reflux after feeding. To mimic natural feeding and the baby turning its head each side, it's a good idea to swap sides halfway through the feed. Any signs that the milk is coming out too fast, just take the bottle away and give the baby a break to wind and make sure that they are comfortable. If you pace the bottle feed with plenty opportunities to rest, the baby will be more aware of when they are full and therefore not overfeed and make themselves uncomfortable.